Hey, welcome everybody. Time to grab your gear and see if you can catch up as we run into life, the journey of finding your fit with a woman who spent, well, much of her life on that journey, Caren Ware. Welcome, Caren.
Thank you for having us. We just finished off an event this weekend, Cinco de Mayo's, and we actually had Paul Roberts from OC Talks, the voice that you're hearing right now.
I think you had a record group of people there,
We
too.
did, and we had a record good time, which we do every single time. I have never had anyone say, I wish I hadn't gotten up this morning and come to the event. Pretty amazing.
Go watch on YouTube. We did some interviews there. Go watch on Instagram, other things. Amazing group of people. Every shape, size finds their fit at your event. And one of the things that surprises me the most are the number of seniors, people over 80 sometimes or 90 or whatever running. And today you've got somebody who fits that category and he comes to your events as sort of a warm up to do something even bigger in life.
Absolutely. So I want to introduce you to we're going to be bringing in runners and different people and the everybodies and let you get to meet them. And I'm going to introduce Ron today and let him introduce himself. And I'll tell you that how I knew that he had something cooking is that he called and he said, do you mind if I run both the 5K and the 10K?
Both of them. You must do
both distances, just so that I can get it into my training and I could get ready for the LA Marathon. And then when I looked at the stats, he did something incredible with that LA Marathon. He'll tell you about it. And then he's about to embark on a journey as you know.
Well, let's bring him in first.
Yeah,
all right,
so let's bring him in. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Ron Dupre, and I connected with Caren because of this 5K, 10K. Yes, and Caren, thanks for letting me get in to do both that day, and they were at the same time.
And let's give a plug to your organization or your site or whatever it is. You're from what?
Well, I'm from an organization called Senior Strides. That's what we're trying to promote here, specifically for this project that's coming up, starting actually on May 15.
That's why we
15th.
have him here now, because
Exactly.
he's going to be gone.
All right, and the project is?
Yeah, the project is really to draw attention to the importance for seniors, generally 70, 65 and above, to get out and move more, because less than 1 in 7 gets the recommended physical activity, aerobic, and muscle strengthening that we need. And I'm, by the way, 73.
Come on, you can't be 73.
I'm 73, yes. And so that's why we're promoting this, because, we have 50 million, the last stats I saw, in the United States who are not getting the exercise that we need. Only 8 million are.
I'm raising my hand in the corner. I'm one of them. All right, so but you're doing something incredible, and then let Caren jump in again here. Tell us what the project is.
Well, I just want to let you know, too. Tell us, before you get into the project, what did you do at LA Marathon? Because he was training for the LA Marathon, which just happened in March at 73, and everything's age graded so that you get to compete with those in your age bracket. And it's still just as competitive at 70 as it was at 17. So what did you do with that LA Marathon?
Well, I first want to thank you, Caren, because the week before going to run LA was March 9, as I recall, and you allowed me to come and run the 5K and the 10K, which started at the same time. So you let me do the 5K, came back, and I restarted the clock for the 10K. You'll remember that. Mm-hmm. And that was my final training, 15 kilometers, 9.6 miles or so. Anyway, 9 point something. But to go and get ready, 9.3 as I remember, to go do the LA Marathon. And then I did. My goal was to break 4 hours. It was the 40th running of the LA, which is one of the big 5 marathons in the United States. I had no idea what the time was to try to, get first place in my age group at all. I just had my personal goal, break 4. So I ran with a 4-hour group. Fortunately, I was feeling very good, and I ran a little ahead of them. I managed to get in at 3 hours, 59:43.
Oh,
at 73 years old, you guys.
Yeah, so later when I checked, 5 hours later, I found out that I happened to be, of the 209 who started the race, 70 plus. Of course, there are different categories within that, but of anyone over 70, I ended up as the only one 70 plus to break 4 hours for the 40th running.
Congratulations. Wow.
I wasn't trying to beat anybody. I just wanted to break 4 hours. So I was really thankful. And that's why I wrote to you afterwards. I said, thank you for letting me get into your race to do the final training the week before.
What would you say to people who've never been to her races? Because it's a combination of serious runners and fun runners.
Correct. Oh man, I've been to several of her races. Actually met Caren at a race that we both ran in. And we both ended up on the platform, me for my age group, she for overall. But then I thought, who is this woman? Anyway, that's how we met. But her races are fun and serious,
Yes.
and well planned. And I just love the combination. Of course, families can come out and serious runners, you're correct. And I classify myself as primarily a serious runner, but I love having fun as well, which is, and in addition, promoting causes. Caring about others and doing something. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this Senior Strides.
All right, so tell us
Correct.
the event that you're doing, because we've been putting it off. Listen to this, folks. This is an incredible feat. I'm not saying if you can pull it off, when you can pull it, when you pull it off, this will be something remarkable. What are you setting out to do?
I know it's crazy to begin with, but
Yes, it is.
I'll admit that. But what we're trying to do, and I'm the walker, I'm using the word walk. Now, I run the races, but generally I do a lot of walking for training. And I'm aware that generally people over 60, 65 prefer to walk. So this is aimed to be a time of walking. Walking 50 kilometers per day, that's 31.07 miles per day in 50 states in 50 days.
What?
In 50 days.
Correct.
You get up and go to another state and then walk another 50 kilometers here and then another state and
There
walk
aren't
50.
too many of these states that you can even walk through to the next state, maybe. Just head toward the next one.
Well, yeah, we're actually not walking to each state, but in each state.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
But then
teasing.
you have to do you get in a car or get in a plane and go to the next state
Yes, well-
immediately and get up the next morning and do it again?
pretty much correct. Yes. So we're flying out to Honolulu, and we're starting. Their first 50K is on May 15, Thursday morning, 6:30 in the morning. We're beginning, and we'll do the 50K there. They're taking a night flight to Anchorage, doing a 50K as soon as.
That alone is insane. Okay.
I know. Yeah. Hey, the flight is 6 hours. Got a good time to sleep. And then at 7:15 we arrive in Anchorage, and then do the next 50K there. Flight is out there at 4:00. Fly then down to Ontario Airport, California, and then do 50K the next day as well. So 50K per day, 50 states, 50 days. Once we get to California, we will then be using an RV to travel from state to state. I'll have a driver, a cook, etc. will be accompanying me.
So you run and then drive all night to get to the next state?
Correct.
Because it's like 4 or 5 hours maybe to the next state or something?
You've hit the nail on the head. It's on average 4 to 5 hours to drive to the next state.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah, because I've driven across the country
Well,
a
what
couple
about
of times.
Texas? We got to see the map of this.
Well,
How
you
he mapped
gotta
this out.
jump
Yeah.
in and jump out. Yeah, right. You
Yeah,
can go-
right. but let me add this though. We are arranging right now to stop at senior living centers to actually
yeah.
encourage them. So, for example, we'll go to a senior center the evening before, generally around 7:00 at night, and then encourage them to join me the next morning at 6:30. 5 days a week or so, we'll be encouraging people Monday through Friday to join us at 6:30 in the morning in whichever state I am in. Now, I'm not talking about the physical state I'm in. I'm talking, I'm talking the actual physical location I'm in. 6:30 every morning, we'll invite people to join us. They can go onto our website, seniorstrides.org. They can sign up. They can follow us there. And then the folk who will join us live there at 6:30 for a little warm-up, a little stretch, and at most walking a mile with me.
Yeah.
After which
So
I
to
will
get you launched, yeah.
correct, and by 7:00 or so, I will then continue to do the 30 other miles, and generally in 5 or 10K loops, so that if others want to join me during the day, they can.
I was going to say, because I'm trying to
Oh,
figure out
my
how
gosh,
would you
yeah.
go out 30, how many, it's 30 miles, right?
Yes, correct. But we want to do it.
Then they have to go retrieve you, otherwise somebody's saying you come back to the starting point.
Right. No, we want to do it in loops, making it available for others who want to join us, especially lunchtime. People may say, hey, I've got half an hour. Let me go and join you for, 3 miles. Just a 20 minutes per
Wow,
mile
people-
walk.
And how do you pick the sites where you're going to? Is it? I would think you'd do it right at the airport, so you get on the next one. But
Now, you're actually correct about Anchorage, Paul, because when we get to the airport there, it's right near a lake. Some of you know Anchorage, the airport, and it's a beautiful sight to see the mountains and the snow in the background. So we're actually flying into Anchorage at 7:15, starting to walk around 8 o'clock and doing a fast one to be done by around 2 in the afternoon, 6 hours for the 50K, and then hop on the plane at 4 o'clock to fly down to Ontario. So yes, sometimes it'll be by the airport, but most times when we're using the RV, we will be able to sleep in the site ahead of time, and then in the mornings invite them to walk with us and do 5 to 10K loops where people can actually join us.
You got to contact particularly the small markets. I used to have a PR firm a million years ago, and I'm telling you, if you're in Nebraska or Iowa or Mississippi or someplace, and you're in some small town, people, if you call them ahead of time, you can get on the morning show, you can get on the evening news, and people will rally to come out and do this.
This is going to be fun, and that's why we wanted to bring him in here so that we were on the first foundation
we're
launch of launching him off.
All right.
Yeah.
Can they follow you on the website? Can I see where you're at? Where in the world is Waldo? Kind of thing.
Yes, in fact, the media guy that I'm flying in actually from South Africa. It's a longtime friend. I'm from South Africa. Some of you've probably picked up a slightly different accent. And my
only when you said South Africa. South Africa.
Yes, you're right, Paul. So he's flying into Honolulu, and his son is a geolocator. He does a lot of that, and he is actually right now setting it up on connected with our website. It's not yet done, where people can actually locate where I am specifically as we're traveling from place to place. And of course, we have the website, seniorstrides.org. You can go there right now. We've got the whole setup where we're planning. We may make a few adjustments on the way. However, as I pointed out, first Honolulu, then Anchorage. Those have to be set. Then, California. We'll be stopping at Loma Linda University, which many people know is the basic Blue Zone's location. That afternoon.
Explain that for a second, because not everybody knows what a blue zone
is.
But it is a blue zone.
Correct. Netflix had a series out in which they talked about areas in which people generally are able to live to about 100 years of age, and not just longer, but better. And so Dan Buettner, through National Geographic, located places where people do that. And so generally it's recognized that there's something about the Loma Linda University, Loma Linda area, where of course the university is located, and the diet and the lifestyle.
Because there's a lot of Seventh-day Adventists and stuff there, and so they eat a different diet.
That is correct. Overall, it's not required, and I happen to be a Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay. All
right. But that's not why I became plant-based, which I did. I was actually following a well-known ultramarathoner. Many people know him. His name is Scott Jurek. Okay.
Yeah,
and I read about Scott about close to 20 years ago when they said he is plant-based. And I'm like, you're kidding. That's when I switched to being a plant-based person. Even though I happen to be a Seventh-day Adventist. It was Scott Jurek, this well-known ultramarathoner that inspired me. And so I became plant-based. And of course, I have learned how to do some race walking, which is why I can walk faster. A couple of former Olympic coaches, Martin Rideau of the United States and Alexander Shimko of the USSR, they were my trainers. So I do a lot of race walking.
Good for you.
That's my main
Look at all
training.
the resources that he has done to make life this active. This is amazing.
I got to ask you the question, because this is mostly a business channel.
Yes.
What business are you in that you can do this? How do you fund this? How do you find the time? How do you find the resources to do this? Is this just... I can't imagine an everyday, ordinary 70-year-old saying, I'm just going to get up and take on this challenge here.
Wow. Well, let me first say I have wonderful people who have inspired me, like Scott Jurek, and like Caren Ware. Okay.
Karen's an amazing story that we tell every show here about how she just kind of makes it go and figures out one step at a time where I'm going.
Correct. So I want to give credit to the people who inspired me. And I'm reading Karen's book right now, Finding Fit, and I'm being inspired by that.
And if you haven't, check it out, because it's all about her story from a rough childhood through a rough divorce, through rough terrain around the world. She just keeps going.
Exactly. I have to throw one more person as an example here. I have a friend who's run every one of the 40 marathons of the Los Angeles Marathon.
Wow.
Okay. And she has said she'll be there at Loma Linda when I do my when I start my third 50K. All right. And she's coming along, Jane Cutting. And even though she was with her husband a missionary to Malawi, he's a dentist, she's always done the marathons. She's 85 now.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
exciting.
Okay,
This is so
right.
This is so much look at the network that he has just by being actively out there.
Exactly, and these are the people who inspire me. But going to the question of business,
How do you fund this and make this happen?
Oh, well,
Because this isn't free. You
No,
can't do
you're
this
right.
easily. There's a I say to Karen, and she flies around the world. How in the world do you fly around? You're not independently wealthy. Didn't inherit billions of dollars there.
and the
Maybe
same
she
with
did. I don't know.
Quite the opposite. Probably. We
Right.
just have super incredible work ethic.
Correct. And here, besides the work ethic, which I'm thankful, my father was really a hard worker. He said, "I'm not going to die unless I have my boots on," and he did. 85 years of age, always giving. He was well known as a person who kept giving and giving.
This is in South Africa.
Yes, in South Africa, correct. And he got me into, he was a swimmer, a hiker, he was just outdoor guy. And so he was an inspiration to me. And of course, my mother as well. But going back to the question of business, how do I survive? Again, frankly, because I have been blessed and I end up sharing with others how I've been blessed, people come along the way and they bless me. So for this project, really, I have no funding per se myself, but I told a friend of mine what I'm doing, and he said, "Hey, you got to get in touch with this guy." And this other guy contacted me out of the, I called him up. He has senior centers, literally more than 40 of them down south. And I said to him, "Hey, can I visit your senior center? It's called Morning Point." Yeah, he said, "Please do. I want to inspire and
Please do. Yeah.
I want to inspire
Come
and
on.
encourage.
You can get here, sure.
So down south, I'm going to actually go to 6 of his senior centers
Oh, that's exciting.
called Morning Point. And once I told him that, he said, "Hey, listen, if you need financial help, I'll help."
Oh my God.
So when things started moving along,
This is the
talked-
Caren Ware story.
Yeah.
You show up with $3 and you give the last $3 to somebody on the bus here, and then figure out, well, okay, God, where's the next money going to come from?
Correct. And this is what that guy, he offered. So I talked with his vice president afterwards, who contacted me to organize where to stop. She said, when we were done organizing, I said, "By the way, your boss said you may help financially." "Oh, I'll check with him." She got back to me about a week later and said, "Oh yeah, he'll send you $2,500 for this." I'd never met her boss, ever.
Just like that.
And the check came in the mail last week.
Wow, that's
So
exciting.
how do we
That is-
fund it? It's pretty much a faith venture. It's an opportunity really just to share with others, living a vibrant, wonderful experience when you
I got to
pass
ask both
60.
of you, because this is really hard for me to trust. I'm a good Irish Catholic, to trust that kind of faith that somehow the next dollar will arrive. That I'm so into planning and thinking ahead and not taking risks. And you both do. Karen's talked about this. You're doing this. I'll start with Caren first. How in the world do you trust enough that it'll happen? Is it just experience that it has happened, or is there some extraordinary faith that you have that's given you this gift here?
Okay, this is a huge question because
Yeah.
we hope that we live it by example. And the biggest example on our earth was God sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to walk this earth. And if you look at the Bible and all the things that He exampled by washing the feet of His disciples, by going to He didn't have a home, or He didn't have
a financial
yeah,
plan.
he didn't have that, but he had a better financial planner because it's based in eternity. It's based in a whole bunch
Faith.
of other things, and so.
But everybody has faith until you get tested.
Yeah, and you know what? I think testing is there to see what faith really is.
Yes.
And testing is, the story I have that I ended up in, not South Africa, but Africa, with only $20 in my pocket, and the bank accounts were frozen, and I had no access to money, and I'm in a country that has no access to money. And to be able to know what
I would
it's like.
freak out if I land in Africa and I realize I can't get to my money. How do I get through the day? I would just sit down and cry. I wouldn't
What
know
it
what
did
to do.
is it forced me to have to take a real hard look of the reality, and not out of piety and being here in Rich Orange County, America, but in a real situation that these guys are in the same real situation. So sometimes faith
Which is a
faith-
situation many of these people in third world countries
Yeah,
live
faith-
every day. I
Yeah.
don't know where the next meals come from, the next dollars come from.
Yes, and faith is interesting. I think God wants us to experience life and experience the beauty of it. And what I've done in running into people, I've run into people that have had horrendous, unfathomable loss, and then somehow there's a deep-seated beauty in the loss and what they learn. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit. I'm super grateful for the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda and the Loma Linda Lopers that has a running club, and all this stuff is happening there. It's super healthy. But you know what? I really feel there's a connection in some of the longevity that people have is that they have a community that's centered on faith.
There's something
Yeah,
different out there.
there's
All right.
something.
So, Ron, how do you get up and drive to another state, not knowing where the next dollar's coming from?
Correct. And by the way, I've met Jim Hughes. He came to help when we started our running club, the Striders in Beaumont.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, so I've met Jim, and I'm in touch with him. And Jim's planning to bring the Lopers to Loma Linda for our 17th of May launch from the villa
Oh,
there.
that's exciting.
So that's
Invite
Jim.
Jim to come down to one of our events. We'll interview him here.
He should, yes. Just a wonderful man. Anyway, the issue of faith, you're correct. And the issue, let me say this, Paul. I'm 73. I tell people, I've made so many mistakes in life. I've learned not to trust myself. All right?
Wow, because we're always supposed to trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your instinct.
I know that's the common saying. But
Listen to my voice.
No, but I've learned, because I tell people the longer I live, the more I learn how many mistakes I've made. Therefore, I cannot trust myself. So I want to go back to Karen's point. As Christians, we believe in the Bible being inspired by God. And because of that, we just don't trust our own wisdom. And it's a relationship we have with Jesus, our Savior. And one of my favorite verses, just to answer the question of faith, is John chapter 10, verse 10, where Jesus says, I have come that they, people, human beings, may have life and may have it more abundantly. And that's what I enjoy doing, to live by faith. And I mean, we do that every day.
We all live in a mentality of scarcity.
Exactly.
There's only so much. I can't get any more. There's only one job. There's only one thing.
Because we're self-focused. That's the issue. And I am too. I struggle with that. I'll admit that. But I try to focus out there. And therefore, when I'm on a run, when I'm in a race, I try to say thank you to every policeman, to every helper, because I focus on an attitude of gratitude.
Wow. Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
Because
you guys are filled with these little catchphrases here.
Yeah, but because it's not about me. I am so grateful, so thankful for so many people. When I hop on the plane and I realize I have no control over anything, and so I just say, thank you, Lord.
Which is why I hate flying, because you're out of control. I want to run up and take control of the plane and tell them where they're going and to take charge. I have no control at that point in time. I hate flying.
But you see, that's the point in life. Again, maybe you're too young.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
I think I'm
Not
older
that
than
far
you.
behind you.
Yeah, I'm 73. And the more I learn is learning. Again, I'm not blind trust in the sense of do stupid things and crazy things.
Right.
Oh, except for this walk, because
Kind of crazy.
it
That's
is.
fun.
But I do try to take not risks or blind chances, but I try to plan carefully. And again, I have learned that overall, the world has wonderful people. People who see, who also step out on a limb. And I'm not talking about legs, or arms,
right.
but they step out and they get inspired when we encourage them. And we live in a community of people, and the more we do that, the more people come along. Like the guy who was just sent $2,500 last week. All right. So people, and in fact, on Friday, somebody else contacted me and said, hey, we'll match what this other organization has done.
Wow.
Friday afternoon, I got another commitment of $1,700. So literally within about 3 days, there was over $4,000 coming. Now, yes, it's going to cost $20,000 for the project. All right. And where does it come from? People come along when we inspire and encourage others. They come along and support something that can be a blessing.
Which you're both touching on, and I'll wrap up with this. It's the idea of community. We live in a world where we're all alone.
Correct.
It's up to me to make my way, to make the decisions, to make every step count. And yet, if we just look around, there are people willing to help. There is a community. When I go to Karen's events, there's a community. Runners, more than anything, seem to me like solo athletes. It's me against my time and me against myself. But when they get in these events, it's everybody pulling for them. There's a community.
That's why we call Caren Ware events the something for everybody, everybody, and everybody.
Yeah.
And, some of it, if you look at Jesus on this earth, he picked 12 disciples to mentor, and they're the most unlikely individuals. And then in the Old Testament,
falling down.
God picked Moses, and he picked someone that stuttered, and he picked the most unlikely, not your, and so it's all about everybody, everybody. And any
and
one
the
of
power
us.
of coming together and opening yourself up to helping others and having them help you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now you guys got to watch and go to, tell them the website again.
Yes, seniorstrides.org.
Just like it sounds, STRIDES.
Correct. SENIORSTRIDES.
And I'm going to put a shameless plug out there because we're having Orange County listen to this and a whole bunch of runners. If you want to support the project, how do they do that?
Well, if you go to our website, you will see there one thing I just want to share in 20 seconds, the mission to energize and empower everyone, especially those over 65, to engage in physical fitness in a fun and friendly way to foster health and well-being.
Wow.
If you go to our website, you can actually scroll down and donate there if you want to help the project, or if you just want to follow us and pray for us and cheer us on. Do that for us, because again, it's community. One of the ways I became the runner I am is because I was failing in a half marathon race, and somebody came up to me and said, "Run with me." I said, "I can't." He said, "I'm a coach. I'll show you what to do."
There you go.
And this guy trained me on the run. I'd never met
the
him.
fly.
On the fly. And as a result, Paul, I actually ran better. And eventually I said, "Hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to continue." And I won my age group because of that runner who came to help me.
Absolutely.
So again, we're a community. We care. That's what we're all about.
And I think Karen's events are kind of a starter point for many people. I see people who are overweight, who are older, who are not in good shape, but they come out as the first steps. Then they find their fit, they find their place, and they go on into bigger and better events like he did. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Join the journey. That's what I tell people.
Start the
Yeah,
journey.
thank you so much, Ron, for being here, because I just knew that your story would just inspire everyone else.
Well, so glad I can be here.
And
Thank
again,
you.
the website is,
seniorstrides.org.
and we're taping this the beginning of May in 2025. When does the event actually start for you?
May 15 in Honolulu, and we end just before sunrise on July 4 in St. Louis, Missouri.
There you
That's
go.
exciting.
What a place to go.
Okay, and make sure that you come join us at one of our races. Caren with the C, Caren. Last name is Ware, Ware, and the word events.
Check it out. All right. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. If that's not reason enough, I can't come up with a better one to tune in each and every time as we meet the most amazing people along the way when you start running into life. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.